so we all know where we are from. Thank you
Sure.
for recording this.
Yep, you bet.
Once again, my name is Dave Bailey. I'm from Brightview at Mount Laurel, assisted living and memory care right here in right off of Union Mills Road. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. And Olga and Jessica will be hosting us and running us through what the real estate market looks like for our seniors.
Absolutely. Do you want everybody to introduce ourselves before we get started? Okay,
I think
great.
so, yeah.
All right. You guys go ahead and I'll be the last one, and then I'll just jump into what I have to share with you.
Very good. Stephanie?
Good morning, everybody. I'm Stephanie Slimm. Just like Dave, I have an assisted living in Voorhees. It's Voorhees Senior Living. We're kind of tucked back too, but once you visit, you can't really forget us. Smaller community. I do not have a memory care. We are a standalone assisted living, but I'm looking for any way to really help anybody. I think there's a big need for assisted living, especially now with the pandemic. They're really isolated. They can't even go to the grocery store. I live down the shore, so I know like our local Dunkin' Donuts every Saturday morning when I usually pull in there, there was like the group of old guys who used to sit around and just chit chat, and they're not allowed in there anymore. And 6 feet apart, they can't hear, they can't see, and now you want them to sit 6 feet apart. It's not feasible for them. I feel bad.
Well, welcome, Stephanie. Nice to have you with us. Hey, Terry, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Dave?
Great, thank you.
So I'm DiMatteo. I'm the business developer manager over at Kessler Institute Rehabilitation. We're one of over 100 facilities in New Jersey. We're the only ones in South Jersey. For outpatient, we're PT, OT, speech, aquatic. We have a large indoor 92-degree pool for those purposes. We also have inpatient. We're a stroke craft approved hospital. There's nothing around us that capacity except in Philadelphia. So we are an acute rehab, which is totally different than a subacute or post-acute.
Very good. Thanks, Terry. Hey, Tom, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How's everybody doing today? I am Tom Callahan. I'm Director of Senior Living Resources for Archer Law Office. We are an elder law firm. I am not an attorney, even though I don't play one on TV. I am the crisis manager for the firm. I'm the person who gets the families in, calms them down, explains everybody else's services to them and how they would work to their benefit. And then I call you up and say, hey, I've got a referral for you. So that's what my department in our firm does. I'm in our Morristown office, which is one of our 4 offices. We cover pretty much the whole state of New Jersey.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Jessica?
My name's Jessica. I'm a part of Olga's real estate team.
She's my right hand. She's my director of operations.
And Olga?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olga St. Pierre. I am a real estate agent with Keller Williams Real Estate. Our team has been in business for 12 years. We're served clients in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, quite a big area. A big part of our business is working with seniors, baby boomers, and their families. And I am extremely passionate about educating our community about what matters, how to prepare, because these workshops and these Zoom meetings kind of came out of the fact that I realized in me, I'm like Tom, I am a crisis manager quite often, more often than I want to be. And my goal in being a part of the community and educating our communities to share with everyone what's relevant, how to prepare and put the information in the community members' hands. So that way, hopefully they're being a little bit more proactive. So I'm truly passionate about education and helping everyone. So Dave, am I okay to jump in and share my screen?
Yes, please do.
So super. All right, I just want to make sure you can see.
2021 real estate market outlook for seniors.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So this is what we're going to talk about today is I have done this and I was asked to do this by a couple of other senior communities. And I thought that it was something that was important that I wanted to share as well with Dave and with all of you. If you have any questions as I go along, please jump in, or you're welcome. We'll have some questions and answers as well at the end. So as I already mentioned, our team mission is to help anyone with the dream of owning a home to become a homeowner. And then we also stay with you pretty much as long as you are a homeowner and help you be sustainable and responsible homeowners. We're passionate about being part of the community and education. We help move anyone in United States and Canada. We have extensive relocation service for you, your friends, family, and coworkers, because I want to make sure that our clients are in good hands, depending on where they're going. And of course, we are now offer extensive senior concierge service, because this is not just about selling a home. It takes a village, as you all know, to help our seniors and their families to get to the next part of their life experience. So I am always here. This is what I do full time. We are passionate about what we do. So we invite you, if you need some recommendations or if you want to become part of our network, we are always looking for great people to help out, to make sure that, we are the virtual yellow pages for our clients nowadays. So what we're talking about today is, I do want to go back to 2020. I think it's important to understand what happened last year and how that has influenced and is continuing to influence where the real estate market is today, what to expect this year. We are wrapping up our first quarter, how to prepare for downsizing and selling the homes, which is what we're talking about with our seniors and families right now. And then the free useful tools that I offer, and I am glad to share with all of you. If that's going to help you in your business, that's what we're here to do. So lessons of 2020, change can happen overnight, which is small or drastic. I think we all learned that. And a lot of the time things are happening that are out of our control. And when we talk to our clients, we focus on only two things that we can control, which is our thoughts and our actions, right? How do we react and how do we are being proactive to what is happening? What we're seeing right now that is going into the 2021, suburbs are preferred over city living. People are looking for more square footage. People are looking for space for their office and backyard space, right? Which is not surprising. What we're seeing more and more also is increased cost of contractor labor and materials. I was just talking to a couple of contractors earlier this week, and they were telling me the cost of the lumber has skyrocketed to the point where some people are not even able to afford to do some of the renovations that they're thinking. So I am sharing this with people, is that if some renovations are part of your plan to do some updates to your home as you're preparing to sell, it may no longer be feasible and viable. So we need to talk about plan B, okay? Still record low mortgage interest rates are still holding. I did not expect this last year. Once we were slowly coming out of the shelter in place, I thought that people would be more hesitant and more careful about what was going on in the marketplace. Instead, because of the low interest rates, it's just the floodgates have been open and they're continuing to be this way. I'll give you an example. I was talking to another agent partner of mine on a home that came on the market. They had 52 showings scheduled in a matter of 2 days, right? Wow. So it's just the amount of buyers that are trying to take advantage of the low interest rates. It's just the volume is so large that even with our spring market and the homes that are coming on the market, it's just the supply of homes cannot keep up with the demand. So it is still a huge demand on housing. There's still very low inventory, which is what brings me into when we're talking about seniors, right? If they are thinking about downsizing because they are heading into some of these communities, it is an incredible time for them to truly make a really good amount of money on the sale of their home. So what to expect in 2021? It was interesting also that last year, in addition to pandemic, we also had a major election that was happening in our country. So where I'm seeing is things that are coming in slowly, and we're still not sure how some of the changes in our administration that are going to impact influence the real estate market. So I'm watching everything closely. Right now, I'm not seeing anything, although we are seeing the interest rates creep up just a little bit. However, that has not slowed down the demand. So that's where we are right now. It is a great opportunity to capitalize on this buyer's demand, the sellers that are able to do that are thrilled with the offers that they're getting with very little work that they have to do in their homes, right? And of course, we have the IRS rule on the equity gain. If you're selling your primary residence, I did actually print this out right directly after speaking with my CPA. You are not being taxed on all of the equity and the great prices that you're getting for the home. So what I'm advising seniors is that you are in complete control because of the demand for your home. Minimal repairs, absolutely favorable dates. You can stay in your home as long as you need to. We can negotiate all of those things, including price and terms. What I wanted to share with you, just some basics, overall key metrics and the information that I keep an eye out for every month. Right. So what we're looking at is, just to give you an idea, we're looking at, if we were to compare 3 different quarters for the last 3 years, right, and we're looking at quarter 4 for 18, 19, and 20, look how many homes that were actually for sale in 2020, right? It's a drastic difference between the last 2 years. And with the closed sales is that there were less homes on the market in 2020, yet the amount of sales has surged, right? So this is what we're watching, is that less homes for sale that were put, but then there's more homes that are selling as well. Another interesting factor is, if you look on the left, the months of supply, this is what we track to see what kind of market we're in, right? Anything under 6 months of supply is a very strong seller's market. And what that means is that if we were to stop putting homes on the market today, how many months would it take us to sell all the inventory that's currently for sale? So right now, right, in quarter 4, it was 1 month of inventory. In all the 12 years that I have been in this business practicing real estate, I have never seen this happen. That's just crazy overall, is basically, I call it a zoo, right? It's a zoo. So then when we're talking to our clients, I do like to go back 12 months, no matter what market we're in, because I always get questions, well, when is the best time to sell? Right. And my advice to all the clients is, when is a good time to buy? When is a good time to sell? The answer is, when is the best time for you, right? What is your next adventure in your life that you are going to, right? When is the next door that's going to open for you, and what are your plans? And then based on those plans is when we figure out and determine the best time for you to go on the market. So what we do is we go back 12 months. I do like to share with our clients how the seasons fluctuate, because yes, it does make a difference with seasons. More or less homes are selling, how long the homes are staying on the market, overall days of the market, that's what DOM stands for. We track all of those things closely, because this statistics, even in our now hot market, makes a difference depending on which township that you're in, which school district that you're in, and your neighborhood, okay? So I do this for every single client, whether you're a buyer or seller, that we educate them and help them understand what to expect. How do we prepare for the move in 2021 to make it as smooth, as stress-free as possible? As you can imagine, we're working with seniors. We have 30, 40 years of stuff that they have accumulated. And I can tell you that most people, 99% of the people, don't realize just how much stuff they have until they start going through it, right? And we start out basic. I try to make it as simple as possible for them. We start out with a notebook, and we talk about what do those moving plans look like, right? Instead of keeping everything in your head and getting frustrated because it's like a never-ending loop in your head, I'm asking our clients to write everything down so we have a visual plan, right? We have a strategy session where we sit down and plan this, whether it's happening now or later. I just had a meeting yesterday with a client who is going to be downsizing, and that's exactly what I told her. I said, where are you moving? What are your ideal plans? She said, I want to go to Arizona. I'm like, great. So we have a 2-phase plan. Plan 1 is to sell your home here and then figure out what you're doing in Arizona, because that is going to be another set of people, a village that's going to be helping you over there. So we talk about writing our concerns, making sure that our minds are clear and staying positive about decision to make the move. We talk about budgeting, financing overview, if they need to talk to an accountant, if they need to talk to the attorney, are all of their legal documents all in one place. We we look for those and put them all together. Then we talk about possessions, deciding what you're planning to take with you. We're talking about doing a floor plan to where they may be thinking about going. And then, do we need help, right? Most of them do. And then another important part of this is having conversation with the loved ones. What is it that the seniors are looking to do? Do they need help? What are their wishes? Who do they want to help? Unfortunately, these conversations don't happen a lot of the times, and I find it extremely important to make sure that the communication in the family in between everyone that is involved, including the professionals, is there as well. And then I tell them, number one, just like I told the lady yesterday, you need to start with furniture. We need to start to declutter. I always suggest to everyone that even if you are not thinking about making a move until next year, you need to start pre-packing and decluttering today, because people don't realize how much stuff they have, and they don't realize how challenging it can be to get rid of some of the stuff. We work on getting furniture out first because it's the most difficult. We use garage and basements and closets to store stuff. We're doing selling donations. And then we also communicate with the family because they need a deadline to get their stuff out. Otherwise, they never will. And of course, we have professionals to help them to make sure that they stay on track. And then we review and decide on the moving transition timeline, right? We're reverse engineering things on the timeline. If the family wants their senior to be in the community by a certain time frame, we try to figure out what does that look like to make sure that we make it as stress-free as possible, and work on those in writing. Repairs, I already mentioned to you a little bit. We talk about what do we need to do in the home to make sure that are they looking to get a top dollar, or they don't want people going through their home, especially now because of COVID. And is it going to be sold as is? Is this going to be a fire sale? Sometimes that happens. Do we need to potentially bring in an investor that is going to offer cash? So all of these things are writing down in a notebook and checking things off our checklist. Okay. And then we're actually putting the home on the market, right? Reviewing on neighborhood market reports. What does the timeline looks like? Packing, throwing, continuing to decluttering, and then working with the Brightview representative, Dave, to help with a smooth move and then a transition plan, right? Again, because it takes a village of all of us to help our seniors and their families to make this move. We do have some free tools that we make available. If these are some of the things that you would like copies of to help with your own clients, I am more than happy to share, because they are extremely helpful to make it less stressful for our clients. Room inventory and floor planning, digital asset inventory list, checklist, family conversation, and then of course, sitting down and talking about the strategy session to help our families and our seniors to figure out how they're going to make it happen. And my contact information is listed here. So that's what I had to share with you. And this is additional information, which we will forward all of this information to you with this workbook. We have a live schedule of workshops that we do. We do at least 1 or 2 workshops every week on different topics. We have a senior series that we do, coffee mornings like today with Dave. So if there's anything that you might be interested in, I am more than happy to share with you, or even create something and customize something for specifically your office and your clients. So thank you for listening. And now I wanted to invite you, if you have questions or there's something that you want to share that maybe has worked for your office and your clients, I would love to take my own notes as well.
Olga, if we can go back for a moment, we looked at the past year and the amount of days that a typical home was on the market. I think we maybe averaged at about 45 days. What does that look like for 55 plus housing?
That would be a more specialized search, right? When I did this, just for this example, I literally took one township and I did, from 0 to 500,000. So if even the 55 plus housing is selling very well. Yeah. But we always look, if somebody is looking to sell in the 55 plus community, when I do the analysis, this is where I focus on the neighborhood, because it is age restricted. It's very specific. And then we go back 6 months. That's as far as I go because the market can change. And I try not to look into the shelter in place and COVID timeframes, which were last summer. So I tried not to go back past September to give you an idea what to expect.
Are you seeing that there is a greater demand for that housing? Is there a lack of inventory in the 55 plus communities?
It depends on different communities. Well, I can tell you, like, for example, I had clients that recently moved into Homestead, which is in Columbus and Burlington County.
Yep.
Right now, I just looked recently because I have quite a few clients that live there now. So when I visited, I just checked to see there were only 2 homes for sale, right? It's a large community, and only having 2 homes, that's pretty tight for a market, especially in that community.
How old is the Homestead community?
They were built in 80s. Some of the homes were 80s, depending on the phases there, because they did build them in phases because it's such a large community.
Wow, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
For us in my industry, that's always a plus when people have already made that move to the 55 plus. It shows those of us who are in senior living that somebody already made the appropriate move at the appropriate time to analyze their life and to move to a place that's going to fit their needs at that time. So it's easier for us to approach when somebody's left that family home after 35 years to make the move to assisted living.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I do have a question because I've been seeing a number of places that have been recently reducing pricing down. And I know any good realtor makes sure that they do the market analysis. They try and price the house to the point where it's going to get quick turnaround, because a lot of times that's what people want. And I know a lot of times the clients are saying, no, I want the top of that field. And, the realtor can only convince somebody so far. I mean, we have the same problem in my industry. We can only convince somebody that assisted living is the right thing for them so many times. But what I do see is, because I myself am looking in the market right now, I just see a number of houses that they keep reducing down their prices, and they've been on the market for a number of days. They're beautiful places. The problem is, what's your feeling on the market being a little overpriced at this point?
I have quite a few buyers on our team, and I frankly told them that if you don't have to buy, don't, because you're going to be buying overpriced real estate, right? And that's just a fact. And what I have seen is, for those homes that do sit on the market, is because some of those sellers are just greedy, right? They see what's happening and they're like, well, I'm just going to ask for $1 million. And we can show them and say there's a limit to everything, right? And I always look to see a couple of homes that I recently looked at for some of my clients. I look to see, I was like, okay, they've been on the market for 69 days. You start to wonder what's happening, right? What's going on? And it could be that maybe they had a buyer, but then there were some issues on the inspections and the seller wasn't willing to fix it and the buyer backed out. Well, now those issues have become public knowledge and they either have to be addressed or they have to be disclosed. And maybe someone else is not willing to put the money in, like, for example, maybe a new septic system, something like that, or a new well, right? If you're in a single family home. So it will depend. It's one of those things where somebody tells me, can you see why this home has been on the market? I always go in and see, okay, here's the home, here's the neighborhood and development. And I kind of try to look at a bigger picture to see why the home has been sitting. And I have seen some homes sitting because they need a complete overhaul, right? If they were completely are 70s and no updates have been done and they still want that top dollar, the home will sit. If the seller is not willing to recognize that someone who is going to come in is going to have to put in $50,000 to $75,000, for example, to make it more modern to what the buyers might be looking for right now.
Okay. I have a follow-up question. Some of the people that we work with, they have wound up owning historic homes that, either been in the family for 50, 60, 70 years, or homes that they bought way back when that were 200 years old.
Mm-hmm.
What is the market right now for these types of homes? I don't see a whole bunch of them on the market.
So my question to you would be, are these homes on the historic registry or not?
Sometimes
know,
they are, sometimes
yeah.
they're not. Is that a detriment to a house selling that these days?
The market for historic homes is much smaller. And the reason why I know that is because last year I had clients that were looking for something that was older, that had uneven walls, and they had some creaky floors. And those would be more challenging to sell only because it's older, it's creaking, and it could be uneven, and that's just the character of the home. And if it's on historic registry, it's even more challenging to do the repairs that maybe some of the buyers will be looking for. So I would want to see a comparable for that neighborhood, right, or for that townships, just to see what has been the experience with other historic homes, to be able to tell you what the demand has been. I actually recently looked at a couple of them over in Mount Holly, and it was on the market and it wasn't a hot item, right? Because it was a twin. It had very small closets, and you had a shower, a tub without a you had to hold the shower handle to be in the tub. And my buyer was like, yeah, the price is right, but I'm just not feeling it because it had that more historic vibe. So it's definitely for a smaller market. It's not for the mass market that we have right now.
What do you also say to people who are in houses that may be built in the 50s or the 60s, who it doesn't have things like central air conditioning, doesn't have the modern conveniences people are looking for, who maybe have neighbors who have upgraded, and they're getting the good money because they upgraded over the years. They put systems into the house. They've upgraded. I know the kitchen is always an important thing, but here's a client who, kitchen's maybe it's nice, but it's not as grand, not granite countertops. Maybe it's one bathroom all the way upstairs. Maybe there's no central heat. How do you counsel somebody like that down? Because we get them on our end. We're like, oh, the realtor said it's only worth this, but our neighbor sold for. So I'm always saying, well, you can't compare. You can compare apples to apples, but a Macintosh is different than a Golden Delicious. One's more desirable for a pie. What is your advice for that? How can I back you up in something like that?
What I always sit down is, and we look at the neighbors that have sold to see if they were on the market, this would have been their competition. What did it sell for and why? Did they have those updates and upgrades in place? And that's part of the strategy session where we talk about this. Are you on the time crunch? Because if you're not on the time crunch, do we have the time, and does it make sense to paint? How much is this going to cost? Does it make sense to put the ductwork and to put the central air because next door sold for an extra $80,000, right? So if we had to put that in, it may cost you $7,000 to $10,000. But if we were to do that, we would get an extra $20,000, $25,000. The return on investment makes sense, right? Then I would ask them, do you feel comfortable having the contractors work in your home right now? Do you want all that dust and debris? And it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have strangers in your house. Is this what you're willing to put up with in order to sell your house for a higher amount because of how the neighbors were? Or does it make sense to price it a little bit lower, knowing that the buyer who is coming in is going to need to do those repairs, yet you don't have to worry about with people coming through your house, tracking dirt, tracking snow, right? And it all depends on what their ultimate motivation is. Do they want top dollar for their home? Are they willing to put up with the inconvenience of having to make those improvements in the home? And what is their ultimate timeline, right? Because we're going into the spring market right now. Most of the contractors are going to be busy, right? It's now actually going to cost more money to do these renovations because of the labor cost and the material costs skyrocketing. So those are all the questions that I would ask them and say, okay, you tell me what your comfort level is. If you're willing to put up with this, and as we can see, based on the neighbor sales, they have gotten a lot more money for their home, then let's do it.
Follow up to that question. We also get this one every time, a number of times. It's, I'm trying to push them to go to assisted living, because there's just too many issues. Mom's not eating right. Oh, well, we can have somebody come in and cook for her. Okay, mom's not getting socialized. Mom's not maintaining her medications. There's a whole list of things. And the one thing that I always love that they come back on, my big thing also is mom's bedroom's upstairs. Everything else is downstairs, including the main bathroom is upstairs. And then I get well, we'll put in an elevator. I'm like, okay, that's going to cost you $100,000. What are you going to do? So tell me, what are you seeing with that one, with the elevators in houses? Do those sell? Are they a detriment? Are they taking off? Because in my mind, you're going to invest between $75,000 to $100,000, put an elevator in a house just so you can keep mom trapped in there. And you're never going to get that money back. But again, I'm no longer a real estate agent, so I don't feel that I'm in the position to be saying that. But what does the expert say?
So here's how I would respond to that. Let's put the elevator aside and let's walk through the house and do an age in place checklist. That's what I have. I have an age in place checklist where we can go room by room and we can take a look at it and see, is the home equipped for the senior to age in place and stay there, right? So for example, like in the kitchen, do we have, exactly, I already know the answer to the question, but I want them to see it. We're talking about grab bars. We talk about, the elevator or, putting in the system in,
stair
glider in, right? We go through all of that. Is the bathroom equipped? Are the hallways wide enough if she's going to end up in the wheelchair? How are we doing in the kitchen? Do we have enough lighting? Is it decluttered? Like I go through all of those things and they become so overwhelmed because they realize that the elevator is just not the solution. So we go through the age in place checklist and I'm going to tell them, besides the elevator, you're going to have to spend another $50,000 to equip this house to make sure that your mom is safe in this home so she doesn't fall, because that we know that's the number one cause of having issues. And then that pretty much ties up the conversation.
And if somebody does go ahead with that, what does the resale of that home look like?
Well, that's the other challenge, right? Are they going to price themselves out of the neighborhood by putting that elevator or by putting those things in, right? And some people, when they come and look at the house and they see all those things, they know that a senior lived there and they may want to take some of those things down because it's not important to them, right? So that could be another challenge that we would have to overcome with the potential buyers, because they're going to say, well, I don't need those stairs. They need to come out. They were expensive to put in, but they have no value to a potential buyer.
Olga, I have a question for you. So we've had several people that we've been referring over to Brightview, especially because we, near and dear to our hearts, and they're phenomenal over there, David included. The law, is that a new law? There's about the no capital gains on the property when it's sold, or is it something that's going away soon? Does it have a limitation, or is it just something limited to the seniors who are selling their home?
It's not limited to seniors, as long as it's your primary residence, right? Whether you're single or married. If you're married, it's $500,000.
Okay.
Right? So if you gain
it's always been that, right? It's always been that?
Yes.
Okay. I thought there was an extension or something that happened during COVID for that reason.
Yeah, that only applies if it's their primary residence. It's not the same if it's an investment property.
Okay. Okay. Now, question for you, one more.
Sure.
So they have a primary residence in their town where they live. They have a secondary home. They sell the primary, you don't have to pay anything, but you sell that secondary, you do, correct?
Yes, because it's a vacation home, so it's not treated, you don't live there.
Okay. I literally had somebody asking about Brightview and they had these two homes. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for
If you
clarifying.
sell your primary home first, can your secondary home then become your primary and then you sell that?
You can, but the rule is that you have to live in the home for 2 out of the last 5 years for it to be considered primary. And then that follows under that taxation law. So it's 2 out of the last 5 years, your home has to be your primary residence for you not to pay taxes on the equity gain.
And my follow-up to that is, if you have a secondary home, you can probably afford to pay the taxes.
Mhm.
I'm just struggling to pay one home off.
If you've got that secondary home, you've at least got 2 years to spend down.
That's
You
right.
know, I'm very passionate and a big believer of using real estate to grow your wealth and to use it for helping your parents to pay for retirement, helping your kids to go through college. So that's one of my other passion topics that I like to do because, not to digress, but if you think about it, right? If you buy a little Cape Cod and you start out, right? And you move after 2 years of owning it as a primary residence and your equity gain is $60,000, right? And you sell it, that's $60,000 you can then put towards your new primary residence and not pay taxes on it. So you can technically move every 2 years, build and build and build, right? You sell your home and then you have that equity gain and that helps you to buy another home. To piggyback on that, don't sell your first home. You're not going to have that equity gain. You keep that home as your investment property, right? And then you put a tenant in there. And then at the end, that could be the house that you help your parents, to pay for their assisted living or, when they need some help and assistance. And the other way would be that house can also help your children pay for their college expenses.
Sure. Yeah. What else have you been seeing in the market as far as challenges for someone making the move closer to their families? Are you finding that when somebody's moving, let's say back to this New Jersey area, that there's inventory for them to find something suitable? Are people having challenges making these moves?
So if we're talking about the buyer side, right? If you have cash to buy, that's definitely going to put you ahead of a lot of others when you are competing with other buyers and other offers. What I am seeing now, people are waiving appraisals, meaning that if the home does not appraise, you are going to be responsible for the difference between the appraisal and the purchase price. People are waiving inspections, right? And to me, that's just mind blowing because you're buying, it's a huge investment. For most of us, it is the biggest investment that you make and you can't even inspect to see it. So what we have been doing is bringing contractors on our regular appointments to show the home, just to see what the major items look like to make sure that, structurally it's sound and the HVAC and the roof and the windows are in good shape. So that's what we're seeing. I have clients right now who are seniors in Florida. They want to buy a condo to be close to their kids, which is what your example is. Thankfully, they're like, you know what? I think we're going to pay cash after I explain to them what to expect. Right. So they're coming here beginning of April and they're like sending me a list of homes. And I'm telling them, Sandy, I said, most of these homes are not going to be on the market by the time you get here. I said, so let's be prepared to jump on whatever we can when you're here on April 8th and 9th, when we're out and looking at homes. So I prepared them on what to expect when they're going to be out here. And unfortunately, we had to do a couple of video tours to show them around. And I told them, it's up to you. Your daughter can help you, but it might be an instance of making an offer with just my eyes on it and them being sight unseen. It's tough.
Yeah. Those video tools, are helping all of us to, expand our industry and just give people more information. And we're so accustomed to it now after this past year. For us, hopefully, we're all going to go back to the in-person, that experience of feeling, seeing, touching, smelling.
Absolutely.
Have that ability. I'm still happy that these other tools are available to all of us.
Yes, technology is a wonderful thing, yet there's only so much you can do sometimes, right? It's not the best substitute, but we work with what we can to help our clients. Anybody else has anything else? Exciting times.
Yeah.
Very much.
You must be very busy, Olga. This sounds like it's a great wave for you to ride right now.
I'm discouraging some buyers from buying only because of what I already mentioned to you. It's just, overpaying and not being able to make concrete, sound decisions, and making emotional decisions is just not the right way on such a big investment. So I tell them, you know what, if you don't have to buy, if you want to rent or if you're in the situation maybe with family, just sit tight and save up some more money. Because it's just, unless they're telling me, Olga, this is going to be my forever home. Because if they're going to be moving in the next 5 to 7 years, it's probably not the right move for them, because they're going to be overpaying for sure.
Well, for Stephanie and I, we always have the option of, if somebody doesn't want people coming into their home while they're there, you can always do respite stays with us. Or you can move in as a permanent resident for 90 days and give us a 30-day notice to then move on. So we are always open to, being that temporary home for someone. If it becomes the right home, we're happy to have them stay, but the doors are always open for this this temporary shelter with a lot of added help. Your cooking, your cleaning, your laundry, we'll do it all for you.
Well, it's a good option, because if you think about it, you have these literally troves of people stomping through your home, and you have to clean afterwards, and it's being exposed, because even though we ask everyone to make sure that they sign the COVID addendums, we don't know for sure whether these people are safe or not. So, there's always a risk.
David, I have a question. So I did not know that you had a transitional program, basically.
So
Okay.
people can come here for a respite stay.
Okay.
For that 30 days. Financially, when you look at it, sometimes, you gulp when you look at that number for just 30 days. But when somebody needs that short-term stay, happy to have people here, as long as we have the inventory of available apartments.
Great. No.
Of course, right now we do. Hopefully in a year from now, it'll be a different story. Right, Steph? Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
What is everybody seeing in terms of availability of vaccinations for seniors? How are things going? Like I always
We
ask.
had ours done, like they came to us. So for us, it wasn't an issue. It was like, these are your days and these are the days you're going to get vaccinated. Like somebody like my parents, you got to be really good with a computer, because so many people, there's so many places you don't know where to go. My sister's a nurse practitioner, my daughter's a paramedic, and they spent like 4 hours on the computer jumping from place to place. And my mom went one place and my dad went another. It's tough on the older, like not so much for the ones that are already in a community, but there's still a very large population of elderly that are living still on their own, and they're capable. They're just not computer savvy.
Correct.
I think it was pretty dumb that they did everything on the computer. I mean, Walgreens, Walmart, Rite Aid, the state, the county, it's been crazy.
If you have somebody who can schedule those appointments for you, here what I have found more times than not is somebody will have signed up with the state of New Jersey, then they signed up with Virtua because they got an appointment in May, and then their daughter will check their computer and, hey mom, in 2 days I can take you down to Rowan. So people have had scheduled appointments later on, and then they get a state appointment that they can then go to. I have not found many people that have had the success, Stephanie, as you said, with the CVS, the Rite Aid. It almost seems every time they open those up, the appointments
They're
are
gone. Correct.
Just yesterday.
And then what's happening is they might be on the state website, but like Dave said, maybe they went to Rowan because it was today instead of tomorrow. But then they don't count this, they don't cancel the state one. And then you have to pretty much be looking on the computer and they say, okay, today. And you have to go like right then. I mean, God forbid if you work or don't drive. I mean, it hasn't been easy for them.
Yeah. It's just like, Medicare is the same thing. When we turn 63 or 65, is it? And Medicare comes your way, there should be one plan that covers everything. But no, it can't be that easy. There's 23 different
No.
That you have.
Your brain doesn't work that well at that point. I mean, I have a hard time trying to figure out my explanation of benefits, and I'm not going to 7 or 8 different, physicians, and you sit there and you look at it, and especially deductibles. If I have a $2,000 deductible and the procedure was $4,000, can't I just pay the $2,000 and be done with it? No, you got to pay $50 here and you pay $75 the next time, $2 over. You never pay the stupid thing off.
It's never simple.
No.
No,
There's always something. Dave, is everyone, all the residents in your facility are all vaccinated already?
Everyone who wanted to be vaccinated
Okay.
is
Okay.
vaccinated. The challenge now is the new residents coming in, while the rule is that they should be vaccinated or have to provide us with an explanation as to why they're not. It's how do they get the vaccine? It was great in the beginning for, Stephanie and I, we had the clinics in our communities. And now where's the follow-up? Now,
Right.
now you're on your own. Your POA, your family, your attorney is going to have to try to schedule that for you, because most of the people that are moving into our communities don't have the ability to do that. So we're in that next phase of how do we get the new people vaccinated? Great if you've been maybe in a hospital or a rehab for the past 90 days. Terry, did you have any clinics at Kessler?
I actually got mine in the very beginning of January at Virtua. So we had an open scale for us, and only, I mean, a lot of people did go, but as we all know, the whole medical field went at once. So that was kind of challenging there. But I have to tell you that Atlantic City, I think it's the convention center.
Mhm.
They are having people literally can sign on right now and get an appointment. So I've been sending people there.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But
I've
those who
heard-
didn't are on their own. So
I've heard the same thing because it's also managed by National Guard. So they really have a good system of getting people in and out quickly. Yeah.
you don't mess around. I don't live that far from Atlantic City, so I did not go to Atlantic City, but they do have a big military presence, so there's not
Mhm.
much riffraff going on down there because you don't stay there long,
I will
And the
say
convention center is huge. The issue that I have though is, again, you're expecting our elderly to go into a convention center, a stadium, and I get the concept. You want to open up Yankee Stadium, that's great, but at the end of how are they supposed to get there? Where are they supposed to go to the bathroom? Again, we're dealing with an older population. If you don't have somebody that's going to go with, even if they still drive, by the time you walk across the parking lot, they're exhausted.
Tom,
I
you were
don't
gonna
think they really spent.
I was going to say, New Jersey is actually doing much better than Pennsylvania, especially Philadelphia.
I agree.
Philadelphia, come on, people. You need to get together. I live in Philadelphia now, and I know I'm lucky that I work in New Jersey, so I was able to get a shot here in New Jersey. But good God, the seniors in that area they can't seem to find them. They have to get up at 2 a.m. to try and get on a computer to set themselves up for an appointment.
And Olga, I want to
That's not good.
something that you said earlier. I have a friend, Tim, that lives at 12th and Locust. He has a great apartment there that's probably, I'm going to say, maybe 20 feet by 25 feet. It's a studio apartment. He lives in Center City. He has the world at his fingertips. And when COVID hit, all he wanted to do was to go out in a backyard somewhere. And I think after this past year, he is ready to leave that city apartment living to go find a little bit of green space.
In space, yeah.
That really was challenging for him, being so isolated and not even seeing people out on the street.
I believe that, yes. Yeah. I can't tell you if you look at central New Jersey, right? Mercer County, Middlesex, over that area. I can't tell you the exodus from New York City. People are, buying from Queens, coming in from Queens and Brooklyn. They're trying to get out. Yeah. Very interesting to see, right? I'm always studying to see how one thing affects something else and how we see the effects that we didn't expect from something. So I'm always interested to kind of see how
Olga,
that
I'm sorry, Olga. Do you find that people are moving out of New Jersey as quick as people are moving from the north down into New Jersey? I mean, I hear it all the time. Oh, we've sold our home, we're moving, we're out of here, Do you find that or no? Kind of.
You know,
It balances out, basically.
I hear this with my friends in Florida. There is a mass exodus to Florida. You know, because I have friends that are partners there for a lot of the clients that I had that moved to Florida, and I checked with them all the time. It's like, how is your inventory? What do we have going on depending on the area? And they're saying that they can't keep up because people are moving out of Connecticut. When they figure out how much money they're saving on, you know, income taxes on their income, right, and being able to work from home, they can't build stuff fast enough there. So that is more prevalent in that direction toward going south.
Yeah, I still find here when I talk to people who recently like came to New Jersey, and there's a lot of people who came here for work and they relocated here recently and they're moving their parents here to this area. It still is this metropolitan area of having access to Washington, to Philadelphia, to New York, that is so attractive to have your green space here, but the accessibility to, you know, what some people call the, you know, the center of the world, to be so close to New York City. And it is a privilege to have the arts, the culture, the sports teams, whatever it is that you like, to have so much availability here. Not to forget about the great doctors that we have here. People that are afraid to move to Florida because their oncologist is in Philadelphia. And I'm never going to have that when I move down to Florida.
Well, we talk about with clients about affordability for New Jersey, and I explain to them that the most effective, they are getting a mortgage, it's going to be the property taxes. So we talk about where should we buy, and we kind of try to figure it out, because if they want to be in the middle of everywhere, right, and there's Poconos and Philly and New York and the shore and DC and Baltimore, it's a perfect place. So if they can financially look past and figure out their budget, if it's going to work with New Jersey property taxes, a lot of people are happy. So it depends on what everybody's motivation and financial circumstances are for them to decide what works best.
Olga, I want to just wrap this up and thank you so much for your time. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. And your gift cards are in the mail on your way to you. Olga, I'll let you close us out.
I thank you so much for joining us. It was very lovely to meet all of you. I hope that we can connect on a more personal level, and I can be a resource to you with anything. And hopefully I can get all of your contact information so that way we can put that in our database to have resources to our clients as well.
Thank you, Olga.
I think I sent everybody's email with you and Jessica yesterday, so you can send the presentation out to everyone.
Perfect. I definitely will. Thank you so much. Enjoy the beautiful sunshine. Happy spring, everyone. And we hope to talk to you soon. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave,
you.
for setting it up.
You got it. Have a great
day, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.